Welcome, everyone. This morning we are going to be looking a little bit at discovering the local government information model and Parcel Fabric. Today you are attending a session that's being hosted by ProWest and Associates. My name is Jennifer Ward and I am a local government consultant here at ProWest. And with us today is our geospatial expert, data expert, Lisa Schaefer, who will be walking us through the Parcel Fabric information. And we're going to go ahead and get started here this morning. It looks like all of our attendees are online. And so for those of you that aren't familiar with ProWest, I'll just give a brief background on our company, just so you have a little idea that we've been around for quite some time. ProWest was established in 1987. And we are one of the Upper Midwest's longest and largest established GIS firms. We have been an ESRI Gold partner for quite some years here now, and we were recognized by ESRI as Partner of the Year in 1994 and in 2010. And we were also recognized by ESRI as being a Foundation Partner of the Year in the year 2000 and 2006. Probably the most recent award that we've received that we are the most proud of up to date is the recognition we received as a National Subcontractor of the Year by the U.S. Small Business Administration in 2013. A few of the services that we offer here at ProWest range from ArcGIS online services to software development to geospatial analysis and GIS training. And the topic of choice today that we'll be looking at is our geospatial data services. So this morning we're going to be diving a little bit further into the local government information model, and more specifically as part of that local government information model, Parcel Fabric. So the biggest question we hear more often than not is, what is LGIM, the local government information model? And so what we're going to do this morning is explore a little bit what that actually contains and what is it all about. And then we're going to look a little bit at actually migrating to the local government information model and some options and some things that you may want to consider before looking at migrating towards that. So the local government information model is ESRI's newest model for standardizing local government data. And I think a lot of times we see something new that comes across and it may look a little bit different than what we're used to, and it becomes a slightly overwhelming. And the biggest thing we want to get across today about the local government information model is that it's extremely user-friendly, and if you think of it with the mentality of it is just a geodatabase. So for those of you that are familiar with working with geodatabases, just picture the local government information model as being a more extensive, more organized geodatabase, and that kind of puts a lot of people's mind at ease as far as the usability of it. This is something that is utilized by multiple departments. And really what the local government information model does is it connects the silos of information within an organization, and it integrates processes from multiple departments. And a really important thing to keep in mind about this is that, like everything from ESRI, this is something that can be configured to support an organization's specific needs. So a really good way of looking at it is that it's a model and a template, and it is changeable. So it can be structured and added to and utilized to fit your individual organization itself. A lot of conversations that we've had recently is the biggest thing is with migrating to the local government information model. And a lot of questions regarding should we, why are people, things of that nature. And one of the main things that we go through with our clients is, determining your priorities. Why are you migrating? Is there a specific application that you would like to implement in your organization? Is it for a specific web service? A lot of times it ends up being a case where You just want to organize the chaos, and by that we mean you have maybe multiple data layers, data sets, shape files, AutoCAD drawings that you have siloed out into individual departments, and this is a really good way to be able to organize that data internally as well. And sometimes we have those that do migrate because everyone else is, and there's always those individual organizations that always want to be in the forefront of what the newest technology is, and this is really the direction that everything is going towards. One of the nice things about the local government information model and any app, because truly the local government information model is designed for the usability of ESRI's maps and apps. The maps and apps are truly built around the local government information model. And the nice thing about the local government information model and maps and apps is that they're able to be downloaded. You can try them out, you can test them, and we'll go to the website here in a little while and we'll show you how easy it is to be able to go in and just run a test online to see if it's an app that you would be interested in at your organization. As far as migrating to the local government information model, there's some preparatory work that can be done to make it best fit your organization itself. And we'll take a look at the actual model here in just a moment as well. And another thing to keep in mind as far as the apps go, they're all configurable. So just like the local government information model, the apps are configurable as well. As it is with any model, it's not always designed to fit every niche that you may have for your individual data, but that can be adjusted accordingly, and then the configuration for the apps can be adjusted as well. And the nice thing about it is that you can test and tweak the apps. It's not a case where once you have it developed, it has to stay that way. There's always room for improvement and additions to that application itself. So we're going to go in and take a look at the local government information model itself to start with. And I will admit, the first time, I've been working at ProS for about 19 years now, and the first time I looked at the local government information model, even for me, it looks a little overwhelming just because the number of data sets that are available in it. But after you are able to go in and take a look and just play with it a little, I think the thing that you're going to realize is that it is a wonderful way to organize your data. The days of having shapefiles scattered all over the place, or the days of having numerous AutoCAD drawings tiled by your townships or tiled by your sections. This is a really nice way to be able to compile all that data together. It's a very good way to be able to take those individual township data layers and make it a seamless county-wide data layer that then becomes accessible to all of your departments internally, and as well as having the ability to feed the maps and apps. So if we just peruse through this slightly, just to show you a few examples in here, each one of our data sets that are in here contain multiple feature classes, relationships, things of that nature. For those of you that may not be as familiar with a geodatabase structure, and for those of you that are at this time much more comfortable in maybe an AutoCAD environment, the best way that I can describe the geodatabase itself is if you think of it as a canister. And inside of that canister is where all of your data layer is able to be organized accordingly. So when we talk about data sets, for instance, like our administrative area data set, it's the next layer of organization of that data layer itself. And then inside of that data set, we then have the individual feature classes. So it is truly a very well organized display of the multitude of data that county governments have available or are perhaps looking at developing in the future. Something to keep in mind with the local government information model as well is that what we see here is just that. It is the starting model. So if there is a case where you have additional data layers that you need to add in, it's definitely doable. For instance, maybe we have some organizations that we currently work with now where maybe there's a need for an auditor's lot feature class, or for a mobile home park feature class, or they want to be able to utilize and add in a PLS 16th feature class. So it's definitely expandable and definitely editable to fit your organizational needs. So before we hop into the more Parcel Fabric specific information, I'd like to take a quick look at the available maps and apps that you can peruse through, and you can actually test online. There are such a large variety of applications that are available from ESRI, and these are all designed to work with the local government information model. And again, if there's configurable items on it for additional data layers and things of that nature, but through and through, these are designed to utilize that model. And so when you go in and search for the different types of applications that are available, as you peruse through the gallery, what you will notice is that there are some of these that have a try it now option on them. So for instance, and for our notified property owners, we can click on the try it now, and it actually allows us to try the application itself, take a look at it, see what type of information and functionality is available with that. Increase address quality, again, with Try It Now. And so the nice thing about this is that it allows you to research the possibilities of what type of applications are available for quite easy development purposes as you look at the potential of migrating your data to the local government information model. So one thing to keep in mind is that it's not just a case of organizing your data, but I think we can all vouch for the fact that that's always an excellent reason to move forward with anything, is for organizational purposes and the ability to create county-wide or city-wide data sets. But also the big picture of what can you do with that data after it has been organized. And so with that, we are now going to turn over to Lisa Schaefer, and she is going to discuss with you Parcel Fabric and how that is incorporated into the local government information model.
Thank you, Jennifer. So the Parcel Fabric is really just a part of the local government model. It's an optional part. We try not to tell people that little secret, but it is optional. So it's within the local government model. It can be used in any geodatabase, actually. It doesn't have to be the local government model, but it fits so well right in there. What the Parcel Fabric is, I'm just going to move forward here, is a big question that we get from a lot of people, whether we're at conferences or from our clients. You know, what is it? Why should I use it? And how is it going to be used? Basically, what does it do for me? So let's look at each of those questions individually. So what is the Parcel Fabric? The Parcel Fabric technically is the data set for storage, maintenance, and editing of parcels. Basically what that means is it's a geometric network for parcels. And because we call it a fabric, that really gives us the idea that everything is woven together. From the points, the lines, the polygons, even the annotation, it all works together. It's interwoven. It's also an efficient editing environment. In fact, it's an editing-only environment. It is not a recognized format for publishing to web services or for applications. The information within the Parcel Fabric first needs to be published to simple feature classes such as points, lines, polygons before it can be involved or included in a web service or other application. So all those nifty apps that Jennifer was showing us, those actually rely upon the other feature classes and feature data sets within the local government, not specifically the Parcel Fabric. So the Parcel Fabric is truly an editing-only environment. No one else can see it until you really want to publish it. So additionally, within the Parcel Fabric, seeing that we're talking about them being woven together, points, lines, polygons, it's really a set of relationships that maintain spatial data. And the Parcel Fabric is really a parcel editing or a land records maintenance solution. It's not meant for administrative type feature classes such as zoning or commissioner districts. It's really meant and utilized for everything from the PLS and ground control through the subdivisions, lots, into the tax parcels. It does not include everything that you might possibly maintain. And so why would I use the Parcel Fabric? And what you're seeing here are the 4 main reasons when I talk to clients who have migrated into the Parcel Fabric or who are considering migrating to the Parcel Fabric. These are the top 4 reasons that I hear. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. So the historic archive, really that I see coming more from planning departments where they need to see the previous property lines for prior setbacks or easement information. It really serves as sort of a pin lineage. Now you can choose to add to the historic archive if you choose to, but most people and most organizations will choose to use that historic archive from the point that they migrate moving forward. They generally do not add to the historic archive. Spatial data improvement. This is becoming a hot topic amongst, especially, I'm getting say the North Midwest region, so the Minnesota, Wisconsin, somewhat North Dakota, where we're really seeing a lot of remonumentation projects for ground control. This really helps to allow an easier way to make those adjustments and transformations to apply, say, least square adjustments or survey measurements to the parcel data that may already be in the Parcel Fabric. So the Parcel Fabric has tools for those adjustments and transformations. Okay. Additionally, editor tracking is huge, and you can use editor tracking in a general geodatabase, but built into the local government model, and especially into the Parcel Fabric when we're using the local government model, is the ability to track who edited it last, or who edited the data last, when was it edited. You can also track who originally created the data and when that data was originally created. So especially when we're trying to migrate data from AutoCAD drawings and bring it into the Fabric, we can track when that information was brought in. And then there's additional information within the Fabric that we'll see. It's called a plans table, so we can determine when that drawing was brought in. We can even track information as to who surveyed a new plat, who the surveyor was, when it was surveyed, when it became a legal document, all that fun information that you may be keeping track of elsewhere. And the biggest improvement, or the biggest reason why people seem to use the Parcel Fabric, is the enhanced editing features. Built within the Parcel Fabric is the ability to have what are called, at least what I call, guided workflows. So it's an enhanced automated workflow that follows the user and guides the user through with step-by-step instructions for any type of parcel update that may be needed. Currently there are 7 different guided workflows that are included, and as far as I know, Esri is going to continue to work on more. Okay. So really what the Parcel Fabric does is when you're working in a regular geodatabase and you're trying to edit, you might have the editor toolbar, an advanced editing toolbar, Kogo toolbar, a topology toolbar. We're basically taking those 4 toolbars down to 1 by just using the Parcel Fabric with Parcel Editing toolbar. So it's really an enhanced and more efficient editing workflow. So then how is it used? Well, again, the editing workflows or the guided workflows are a large part of it, especially when we're learning the Parcel Fabric and getting into it. And then automated annotation, we tend to see that, and especially those of you who are in an AutoCAD environment at the moment, or you're in a shapefile environment, that to draw the line work, you're entering maybe coordinate geometry, bearings and distances. And then you move into, you now need to create the polygon, so you might connect those lines to make polygons. And then you want the annotation, and you find yourself re-entering the same bearing and distance information. Well, instead, the automated annotation is currently a feature-linked annotation within the Fabric, and then it automatically does the annotation for you as part of a step in each one of the editing workflows. So the annotation is automatically created from the one entry of your coordinate geometry. Additionally, as the local government model feeds all the Esri map and app templates that Jennifer was showing us, the Parcel Fabric feeds the local government model. So the Parcel Fabric itself, when you're ready to publish that data, that information is taken out of the Parcel Fabric via scripts and models and queries, and it pulls individual pieces into the right location into simple feature classes, such points, lines, polygons, so that it can then be used within the local government model to feed an application or a web service that you may be trying to serve out to the public, or internally even to other colleagues. A lot of those publishing scripts can be put on a scheduled nightly task, or it can be an on-demand type of script. So let's take a look at some of this, and let's start, like as Jennifer did, let's start with catalog. And within the local government model that Jennifer was showing us, there is a parcel editing feature data set. This is what I was referring to before as being an editing-only environment, so that it is strictly for editing. It is not being utilized by any of the map or app templates that Esri has created. Parcel editing is strictly editing. It is not for viewing. Okay. So within the parcel editing feature data set, you can see there's a few relationship classes which are built in and part of the Parcel Fabric. So it relates our lines to our annotation so that we can have the feature linked anno. And we have parcels to condos. If you have stacked parcels, you want to do some of the condo relate. Parcels to lines and parcels to plans, that's all part of the Parcel Fabric and being related to each other. It maintains the structure and the organization within the Parcel Fabric itself. Now within the Parcel Fabric, you can see it has a different little icon that you might not be used to seeing yet. But that is what keeps it separate from everything else, so that it is not recognized by every application or web service you may be putting out there. So within the Parcel Fabric are 6 subclasses, well, I should say 5 subclasses in one table. There's the Parcel Fabric control, which is your ground control. It can be your PLSS ground control. There's also line points and points down here, which are some of the things that sort of happen behind the scenes within the fabric. Everything within the fabric is based on some coordinate points, and the line points kind of help us where we have what we would consider a backlot issue, where two adjoining parcels do not have the exact same vertices. Those line points make up for those extra vertices. And then we have our lines and our parcels. And you notice that under parcels, it does not say PLSS townships. It does not say tax parcels. It does not say subdivision or lots or blocks or anything else. Everything in the Parcel Fabric is considered a parcel. It is a part of the whole land records system. So within the Parcel Fabric parcels, there is a domain that covers that. So for example, a type 1 are the townships, type 2 are sections, type 7 is tax parcels, and so on. So each of those types of a polygon are set up in the Parcel Fabric by a type domain. So really we have points, lines, polys, and then outside the fabric is our parcel dimensions, which would be the feature-linked annotation. So if we see what this looks like in ArcMap, when it first comes in, we have our Parcel Fabric, and underneath it you can see, well, we don't just have the 5 plus a plan table. We have tax lines anno, which is my parcel dimensions in this case are tied together. I have my control, which was one of our subclasses. I have my line points and my points, which were also part of the subclasses. My lines, which now based on a domain within there, most of them are going to be my standard boundary line. However, there may be radial lines, connection lines, road frontages if I choose to classify them that way. And you can see that, especially if you're in that CAD environment where you may have an origin to point of beginning line that you're maintaining, that can be pulled in here as well. We just need to make sure that it's categorized correctly. Okay. All right, and then beyond that, my historic parcels all the way through my encumbrances, those are all polygon features that were part of the Parcel Fabric parcels subclass. So all of these are now polygon features, and if I look at it in my definition query, you can see that it's just a query based on one of those types, whichever it may be, and I can change that, but also that it's active in that my system end date is not null. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my historic parcels. These are not active at the moment. Okay. So under the historic parcels, my system end date has a value. That means that it's no longer an active parcel, and I'm looking at either my type 7, which is a tax parcel, type 9, an encumbrance, or my type 6, which is a subdivision lot. Okay. So each one of these polygon feature classes or polygon fabric classes here is based on a definition query. So if we look at our tax parcels, so it's an active parcel, so it does not have a system end date, and it's a type 7, meaning it's my tax parcel. So each one of these is set up so that we have that definition query, even though it's all pulling from the same fabric subclass. Okay. Okay. Here we go. So if we take a minute to figure out what does all of this mean for you, what can it do for you? So the local government itself and local government information model itself, which is the full geodatabase, including the Parcel Fabric as just one piece of a feature data set, together will not only organize your data into a recognized standard in a geodatabase format, but included and involved in all of that is the ability to create an edit environment and those publish environments. So the parcel editing feature data set is strictly for editing. It does not get published anywhere, but the information within the Parcel Fabric can then be published via a model or a script into other parts of the same local government information model. And then that information can then be served via an app, a web service, whatever you may have, to either the public, to other colleagues. If you're sharing as the state, it gives you that ability to more easily push that data to the state or the state to pull the data from you. Okay. The land records and local government is so much more than just a software. It's a whole solution. You may be in an AutoCAD environment, which is a great engineering software. It's a civil software, but if you figure land records, it's so much more than that. It's documents, it's the spatial data, it's sharing that data, getting it out to the public, getting it to your colleagues. So getting it into the local government model with or without the Parcel Fabric really gives you that ability for easier sharing. Kind of that one-stop location, and it pulls it together. So what can you do now? So if this is something that sounds like something your organization can use, or it's a goal within your organization, what can you do now to really get the ball rolling? First, really you need to know what you've got. Okay, so educate yourself, know your data, so you know what you have and you know what you don't have. Because some of those applications you might see out there, one of the templates might be just fantastic. That's something you really want to use. But if you don't have the data to serve, the application is going to do nothing for you. So make sure you know what you have, what you don't have, and then make a plan to create the data that you don't have. Secondly, what Jennifer was showing us is to play and really test those applications that you're interested in. Use the Try It Now Live option, and if it doesn't have that option, download it and try it with a sample of the local government model data. That was one of the links I believe Jennifer was showing, was that local government information model right off the download. Okay, just be able to play with that, or plug that into one of the templates and try it out. What this is going to lead to is wanting to create a priority list of what you want to implement, what pieces of information it requires, what information you might still need to create. And trust us that once you start serving information to the public, you will be flooded with suggestions, options, requests. All that stuff just starts flooding in. Once the people can see that you've got that ability to serve data, all they want is more. You know, it's not just kids that are sponges, everybody's a sponge. So some of the useful links, and some of these are repeats from what we were looking at before, but we've got links to the Resource Center, the local government information download itself, and parcel editing, some information and background on that, which really was where Jennifer was showing us some of those galleries and some of the applications there. This is just a little bit more specific. If you clicked on one of those, these are what some of those links are to. The Resource Center, I'm just going to click into that. Okay, so once you start looking at the local government itself, the whole solution, you realize there's more than just even land records. So the land records model will bring you into something, you know, it's showing here the tax parcel viewer. It'll bring you into the local government model download, some tax parcel MXDs that you can look at. But you also get a lot of other information, whether it's, you know, water utilities, public works, any of these pieces that may serve your organization would certainly be more information to look into. It's all part of the solution. They work together. They're designed to do that. Okay. So I don't know if we mentioned at the beginning, but certainly if there were questions, we want to make sure that we get the, oh, well, people already know that. We've got questions. Okay, what do we have? Okay, question here submitted, is Parcel Fabric geared towards surveyors to maintain PLSS base for parcel mapping? The Parcel Fabric itself takes pieces from surveyors and the survey methods to maintain parcel mapping, in that when we bring in new survey or new information, especially ground control, remonumentation, corners, things like that, we bring that information in, and the adjustment tools and transformation tools that are built in to help us adjust the features that are already in the fabric are all built with the least square adjustment methodologies. So all of the basic survey methods that are out there to break down PLS, for example, or to make these adjustments are all geared around the least square adjustment algorithms and math behind the scenes. So if you use a different method, then you may still need to do that by hand or manually within the fabric. That can still be done. But if the least square adjustment methods are what you're used to using and you're doing the math yourself, we really could leave it up to the software to do that math for you here. Okay. Additionally, another question regarding versions. Their organization has multiple editors and multiple departments. Is versioning our best option, or can we still create checkouts? Okay, so if you are using the Parcel Fabric as part of your editing solution, then you would need to go to the versioning method. Checkouts are not an option when it comes to the Parcel Fabric. If you are not using the Parcel Fabric, but you're still using the local government model within the SDE environment, then yes, you can still use checkouts. Okay. Versioning, a side note on that, when you have the Parcel Fabric and you use versions, you really only have the ability by default to go one version deep. So you have your default at the SDE level, you have your default, and you can create one version off that for editing purposes. The Parcel Fabric really does not like to go beyond that. So if you're currently using a structure where you have your default, maybe a master version, and then children off of that, that doesn't work very well when it comes to the Parcel Fabric, and it's really not recommended. Another question here. If I just have some of the information for the local government information model, do I have to keep all the other feature data sets? No. This is an extensible, it grows with you, you can shrink it down to only the pieces that you need. You can add back pieces if you've already deleted them. So let's say you're only using maybe 4 or 5 feature data sets out of the entire local government information model. You can remove all the other feature data sets so that you only have what you need to maintain. A lot of times people don't want the whole thing because it confuses colleagues. They think they've got more data than they really have. So we shrink it down to what you're using. And then if you go back to your priority list and you're creating pieces to fill in maybe needs from an application you wish to create, then you can certainly go back and add in feature data sets from the original template. Any more questions? No. Okay. So that concludes what we've got for today. We will be posting this webinar on our newly revised website. Check us out. It's a beautiful new website, and there's even pictures of us out there. Don't look too close at those, though. Additionally, you will be seeing, sorry, I'm reading another question here. Just want to make sure we get all these answered. If the Parcel Fabric only likes to have one child from the default version, how do you manage multiple editors? So that's a very good question. So when you have those, the one child deep off the default, you can have the default and many children there. So one default, many children, and if you need to have it reviewed and such before you do a post and reconcile, then those children would stay children until the quality control agent, whoever that may be in your organization, reviews each one of those versions, and then that quality control person can post and reconcile the data. Okay, so I want to make sure that you know that upon the conclusion of this webinar, you will see a survey coming your way, so that it is a very short survey. We just want to make sure that we can improve the experience that we're providing to you and get your feedback on that. Okay. One last little piece, you'll be seeing myself. Sorry, Jennifer will not be making it, but myself and Kyle Heidemann will be attending the WLIA coming up here in a couple weeks, so if you have any further questions, please bring them to the booth. Have a great day.